What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video. Today we're going to check out some picks doing really well in Korea since the new patch. There are actually quite a few weird ones, so hopefully you enjoy this. My voice, by the way, might sound a little bit different because I'm pretty ill right now, but I'm never too ill to stalk some Koreans. Remember as well, we do look at Korea just because they kind of experiment a bit more than us. They might find these new picks, or they just kind of do stuff in a different way, which we can then adapt into our games. Anyway, let's jump in with the first one, which is Rammus. He actually has the highest overall win rate as a jungler in 6.21 so far. It's kind of a reaction to the AD meta that's coming back more than anything. So we have like AD carry top laners, AD junglers, AD carries. The build is actually as well legit Cinderhulk into Thormail every time, which is so horrible to play against. By the way, to beat Thormail, you would need armor pen and lifesteal to kind of counter the damage back and also get through the armor on it. You never have both of those early into a game though. If you actually want to know how to beat Rammus and Thormail specifically, by the way, I have a video on that, so I'm going to link it down below. The rest of the build is like Banshees, Deadmans, Randuins. Banshees is actually really good on Rammus. Like, you can run in and they can't stop you with crowd control, so it's kind of like a free taunt. Moby Boots are of course the way they are going to go though, so they rush them and they run around taunting people all game. He is just an amazing gank jungler. He snowballs lanes, he becomes unkillable if he gets ahead, and in team fights he's going to distract people for ages. He's not really like a sit back and farm jungler, he's way more of like a ganking jungler. I know a lot of people will see this and be like, wow, he's overpowered, and kind of, but it really depends. Like, he beats Lee, Graves, Marcy, Kha'Zix very hard, even Nidalee because he outscales her, but loses to bigger tanks like Zac or Mumu, Olaf, or Elise with their AP. Lee and Graves are the most popular junglers in Korea, by the way, and that's going to mean that Rammus looks way better than he actually is. So this next one is a real surprise though. Kled is actually doing really well at certain elo brackets. Gold and Plat specifically over there, he's really good. It won't show up on many sites because I've been tracking him each individual day in each bracket. Nobody really knows how he works, to be honest. That is a massive advantage if you're playing Kled. These are the most popular builds over there at the moment on him though, and as you can see, all of them have a good win rate there. You have to remember with win rates, they're across everybody playing, so that guy who builds like a death cap on Kled and loses still counts against the ones who build him right and win. This Black Cleaver and Titanic build though is at least what's kind of bringing him back a little bit, with further battle Keystone by the way as well. Deadman, Sterix, Guardian Angel are all super popular on him as well, and it kind of seems like we might have actually found a way he can be played and kind of work. Also, what is really cool, it seems like this is actually maybe Korea's answer to Riven, Darius, and Irelia, who are very popular but also banned a lot. At the moment, at least in 6.21, with this build, Kled has a very good win rate against them, and that's why I think he's got such an overall good win rate. Those three are super popular and Kled is smashing them at the moment. Nazareth is one that I genuinely think is good right now anyway, not just in Korea, absolutely everywhere, but at lower ranks in Korea, he is pooping on people. It's kind of weird honestly because he is a pure skill shot champion, right? And to be doing well at lower ranks, I would kind of assume it'd be better when you're better at hitting your skill shots, but in the same way, it makes sense that people don't dodge as well, I guess. By the way, he's actually still good at higher ranks as well because he wins versus Victor and Syndra, two of the most popular champions over there. Basically, he's just going to outrange them massively and abuses the fact they have no mobility, and I guess that's kind of why he's so good though. Even in solo queue, right, all you've got to do is survive, get a few items, then your Q and your ult from range, and it should be an easy game. In theory, the whole reason you play a poke champion like Xerath is because later into the game you never have to team fight. You just nail someone with poke before the fight even starts and turn it into a 5v4. He is really hard to play against in that sense. Like, even in Diamond, people struggle to be aggressive enough to dive him, but especially at lower ranks, like, they're going to sit back, get poked, and they kind of just lose the game. There are two builds though. So full ham one is Morello, Luden's death cap. That is so much damage, and the annoying one is kind of like Morello, Rylai's death cap, and Leandry's later. Now both are really good, it depends what you want. Rylai's is really good for newer Xerath players though, because if you hit one of your ult charges, the rest are much easier because the first one is going to slow. Keystone wise, it's tied between Deathfire Touch and Thunderlords. Deathfire has a slightly better win rate, and also I prefer it with Leandry's. Most people don't really know, but I played about 400 Xerath games I think over seasons, like not a ton, but I absolutely love him in the mid lane. I love Leandry's as well, like as a last item for the pen and the burn, like with Deathfire Touch is even better. The next one is something I mentioned like a month ago I think, but she keeps getting better and better, and I think Kindred is actually supposed to be a they, not a she with the wolf and stuff, but it's just so confusing. Anyway, we're moving into a teamfight meta, right? Your ultimate becomes more valuable naturally, especially when they have a lot of big ticket ultimates. If you aren't sure what I mean, a big ticket ultimate is just a high cooldown, high impact ultimate, like an Amumu ultimate, an Ori ultimate, a Syndra ultimate. It's like a one-time big impact, big cooldown spell, and Kindred ult absorbs those, like lets you kind of semi-reset a fight after them. I don't know about you guys, but in my head at least, I kind of think of Kindred as an early game farmer and ganker. Like, she snowballs like mad when she gets ahead. In Korea, she's actually kind of bad early, really. She gets outganked and outpressured and keeps getting better as the game goes on. It's basically a reaction to tanks though, I think more than anything else. So like a Lee Sin, Elise, Nidalee, Graves, they all do pretty well versus Kindred. Against like a Zaka and Olaf though and stuff like that, her passive damage just rips through them and she has a really good win rate. The build also isn't as glass cannon as it used to be. Frozen Mallet, Black Cleaver are pretty popular. Even more Mortius is popular right now as well. If you don't actually realize why she's so good against tanks though, it's mainly because of Blood Razor, Runins, and her passives. It's just crazy damage. The percentage health damage from Blood Razor and your passive actually applies on all 3 bolts. It really helps to ruin people. It's also because that percentage damage actually ruins dragons and barons, so you can rush them super easily. You can solo them pretty much, and it's really good objective control. Probably not solo baron though. Don't try that and blame me, okay? I've also actually seen Ghostblade recently for a way more aggressive build early into the game with some flat arm pen. Not that it's going to be around for much longer with lethality, I guess, but that's not really in Korea. Now next up is Swain. So he hasn't played a ton, so I wasn't sure about putting him in this video, but he literally pops up every single patch for a little bit, and I have a kind of idea why. So basically, in my opinion, he is really good, but the more you play against him, the more you realize the Executioner's Calling just completely hard counters him with the healing reduction. In Korea, he'll ruin everyone. Then after that, everyone buys that item really early, and he's just fine again. Like, he's manageable. He does well versus a lot of meta mids at the moment, though. Syndra's kind of okay, I guess. Syndra has a slight edge, but he crushes any assassins because they just can't burst him. Plus, he heals back afterwards anyway. He's like this weird kind of bruiser mage, I guess. Like, I think of him like a Vlad, actually, to be honest. Like, he's not likely to outright hard carry a game, but he will probably ruin you if he gets ahead or just be seriously annoying to play against. Deathfire Touch and his dots are annoying anyway, plus the heals, Zhonya's Rylai's the slow visage to heal himself even more. All of that stuff actually makes him stronger and he was able to kill you easier, but also more annoying to kill. Like, I guess my point is he's more of a team pick. At least in Korea though, his high win rate this patch is coming from getting ahead early and just doing a lot of damage while he's ahead, while you can't kill him. The easiest way to actually win a game when you get ahead is to dive turrets, and Swain is so good at that with Zhonya's and just being really tanky. So if you roam around and you dive people, it's like a free game. Plus his base damage actually carries early. This might not be a pick for everyone, to be honest. I'm not going to probably mention him for a long time again, but I think he's at least kind of interesting for this video. Like, he crushes some matchups like LeBlanc super hard, and then he's just annoying and difficult to deal with. Now this one is like the complete opposite though. So annoying, but because she one-shots you. If you don't know, by the way, I get these from a bunch of websites altogether, but also on op.gg I can check the stats for each elo each day to track properly, like the champions who are doing really well. Akali isn't really showing up on the overall ones, but she pops up in different elo brackets in the top 5 like rankings, like on the win rates each day. Right now for the last couple of days it's been in silver and diamond, which is where she's really destroying the most, but she's been in every bracket, to be honest, at least once this patch. To give you an idea of what Akali is about though, this stat is from the Plat Plus range, by the way. So Plat and Diamond and Master Challenger and stuff, where in theory it should be harder to just get a lead and crush. She has almost a 58% win rate before 25 minutes. I keep saying I think the meta is moving towards team fights and stuff, but the #1 way to beat that is for someone to just run around the map and kill everyone before a fight starts. I've seen so many people just lose their lane as Akali, but then they roam and they still kill everyone, and it's partly because of Gunblade. It's just such an efficient item. It's so good. It heals you, it does insane amounts of damage with your burst, and she is good top and mid. All you have to do is farm for the Gunblade and roam around. If she gets ahead early, she can snowball easily to other lanes, and she actually does well versus Syndra and Kennen, stat-wise at least, which is probably boosting her win rate a little bit more. She's one of the most risky picks on this video, probably because it relies on you playing well early, but if you do, then I think you have a real chance to just like hard carry the game. Next one is probably one that you're kind of familiar with. So Annie has been awesome mid for a while over here too, but it's just like the best mid laner overall probably over in Korea at the moment. The build is very different though, so it's not Rod of Ages like we usually see. It's just like a full ham, full kill people build. The idea is really to like control the lane phase. You push, you basically kill your opponent a couple of times, which isn't too hard to do. You farm well and then you roam, but flash out in team fights. Abyssal is basically caught on her as a rush in Korea. We don't see this very often, but Abyssal is really good on her. Good AP, good cooldown reduction, magic resist, and reduces their magic resist as well. Then Deathcap, Void, Zhonya's legit like full on damage to burst people. If we look at her actual win rate, it's very solid up until like 6 item late game basically, where she can't really one-shot and people will stack Banshees. That is one thing they do to counter Annie in Korea. Banshees means she can't just drop her ult on you, she can't flash ult you as long as it have it up, and it's kind of a hard counter to Annie really. One of the biggest points I can actually make with Annie in Korea though is I've spectated a few high reload Annie players to see, and they would actually sometimes legit die with their flash up so they could save it to flash into a team fight and win it. That seemed to be what their focus was really. They just make sure they flash out carries or an important target, get them out of the fight as soon as possible, and then they win the rest of it. I think Annie is very strong at the moment, and this build just makes her way more deadly than Rod of Ages. Like, maybe a bit less forgiving, but you don't really win games being a pussy at the back with Annie. The way they play her in team fights is more like a flanker, like a Kha'Zix. They stalk around the side of a fight and then they flash ult the carries at the back. It's actually kind of cool to see. Also, by the way, she's actually doing really well versus Syndra, and I think this is why she has a #1 win rate overall. She has almost a 58% win rate versus Syndra and Plat and Diamond. That is just insane. She has decent matchups everywhere, but that is something really good when Syndra is just so strong right now. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you find these picks interesting. Thank you for watching until the end, but for now, let's go to the robots.